Hello guys, how's it going? There's a support engineer from the information tool software. My name is Hao Wen, and today I just would like to demonstrate our feature regarding the high availability. So for this demonstration, I will show how to create the high availability role and how to protect your database, like the PostgreSQL with efficiency. So to approach that objective, I prepare the two databases, one for production side. The IP address is 74, and another one is 77. For both sides, we already prepared the PostgreSQLs, and our objective is to do the real-time synchronization between them and the automatic failover, and as well as monitoring the specific service as a condition to get the failover. So let me just show you what content for production side and the disaster recovery side. Okay, let's just log in our database first. For production side, we can see there's already the bunch of the databases and also some tables inside. Let's just check the random one. How about the company? Yeah, as you can see, there's employee tables already created for the company database. And let's log in the disaster recovery side. If we compare the difference between them, we can see even if there's still a lot of the database, but it takes the client 2, client 3, and the company. Yup. So what we should do is just do the synchronization between them and transfer some incremental data, such as this database, to the disaster recovery side. Alright. So let's just create the high availability rule now, and I will explain each feature of the high availability. We name it as 74 PostgreSQL HA. And there we can just set up the automatic switch. Of course, you can also switch over manually if you disable it. And we can also configure the range. That means the time period the automatic switch will be set up. Okay, and then here it's a two node. The two node, let's select the 74 as a production side and 77 as a target side. So it's why we need to set the priority, the disaster recovery side as a low one. For the heartbeat, actually the heartbeat it just object the system can detect. If the system detect, it will detect the network situation, the condition, and the status of the power. If the system detects the heartbeat, such as the network is disconnected for several times, the system will recognize or remark it remark the production site as offline, then it will switch over automatically. Okay. For the arbitration can ask the system to detect, or for the arbitration can become the middle node to detect the network connection between the production site and your disaster recovery site. So once when the arbitration node cannot detect the connection between them, it also will set up the automatic switch. So in this case, we just set the control server, the 76, as the arbitrator. Okay, let's test the connection. Everything's alright. Okay, let's go to next. For this part is it's a section to create the replication role. That means we will create the replication role to establish the real-time synchronization between production site and disaster recovery site. We can select some specific configuration, like after we submit this role, the replication role will be created immediately, and we also create the fallback rules. That means we create the replication rule for both directions, from the production site to disaster recovery site, or and the disaster recovery site to the production site. And there is a path. For the path, we need to select the data path of the PostgreSQL. There is a way to confirm it. Let's go back to the or production site, and also log in your PostgreSQL. We need to know the specific path for the directory. So for the data directory, so we just show the data directory. Here is your data path. So we need to set the data path as replication path target. Let's just memorize it or just copy it. Then back to your directory and farm lib PostgreSQL 50 data farm lib PostgreSQL 15 select data. Alright, so let's confirm it and go to next one. For the monitor setting, this section just sets the target you want to monitor. You can set it as a service or set it as a process. Generally, for the Windows system, we recommend just monitor the specific service, such as if you deploy your PostgreSQL in the Windows system, you can set it as a PostgreSQL - the version, this service as your target. And for the Linux system, we just recommend select the process as a monitoring target. How to find the process? Well, that's quite simple. Let me show you. Please just find the specific process and for the PostgreSQL. You can use this command to locate it. And what we need is a path. It's a path of this process. So we just copy it and paste it here. Alright, and here you can set the frequency you need the system to do the detection. And that's up That's up to you, and it depends on your need to set it. In this case, I just set it as a default. Then for the switch, there's several options we can select. And in this case, we only use the script and the virtual IP. For the script, because of the database architecture, if we want to do any modification for the configuration file, we need to press script to shut down your target database, and then once you do the failover, you need to set up the database first. So here, we need to prepare the two scripts. We call it the start script and the stop script. That means we need to start the database before we do the failover and stop the database before we do the failover. Okay, and you need to create the script and put it to the specific path here. And in this case, I already prepared for that, and now I think we can just check the content inside. Yeah, we just check the PostgreSQL start script first. It just normal command to start the service of the PostgreSQL. And also the stop one. Yep. Also the command to stop the service. And please just notice you must prepare the totally same scripts for the production side and the disaster recovery side, and also put this script to the same path. As you can see here. And then let's just go back and select them one by one. And another thing is the virtual IP. Okay, for the virtual IP, because generally the daily business always have the network policy, such as they need to receive the data stream from the database only in the specific IP address. So it's why we need to set the virtual IP. After you set up the failover, this virtual IP will be shipped to the target node automatically as well. So you can just put some IP address for it and check and release the IP address after you delete this rule. Alright. Okay, let's go ahead. Confirm it and submit it. Okay, now because you just want to do the synchronization for your disaster recovery side, it will transfer all the data from the production side PostgreSQL, so your target PostgreSQL must be shut down. So in this case, let's just shut down the disaster recovery side database. And let's check the status. Alright. Okay, and once you can notice the status become ready, that means the real-time synchronization is already be established successfully. So, if we go to the disaster recovery side, you will find, all the data already be transferred, include the database incremental tables. But before we do that, we need to set up the PostgreSQL service. Okay, let's just check status of the service. It should be disabled, and let's start it. Also, let's log in it. Well, as you can see, there's several new databases, and we can just compare with them. Yep, it's totally the same. And it checks the details inside. Let's connect the company. Oops, sorry. Here is also the employee, and then let's select all of them. Yeah, as you can see, the content inside should be totally same. Alright, so I think it just proves the real-time synchronization is already be established. And of course, you can just create some new content, a new database or new tables. They will be transferred one by one. But in this case, we just need to prove the automatic switchover. Alright. If you remember, previously we just set the process of the PostgreSQL as a monitor target. So in this case, we need to stop production site PostgreSQL service, and then let's see how the automatic switchover will be set up. Okay, but before that, I also need to resume the status of the disaster recovery site database. Let's just stop it. Okay. Also, now we just stop the process of PostgreSQL for the production site. Right, it's already been disabled. And let's refresh it. Now you can see the role is switched over automatically. Your disaster recovery side becomes the master now. And during this time, you need to just wait for your production side be repaired or be resumed. So during this time, your disaster recovery side will get some incremental data. And in this case, because we already set the script for both sides, so when the system detects the your production side gets some disconnection, it will set up your disaster recovery set database automatically. And now they just create some random database for it. Oops. Okay, let's just create a database. And we call it the newly data. Here is the newly data. And then let's go back to the web console. Okay, now let's just assume the production side already be repaired. And now we need to start the replication rule and transfer the incremental data from the disaster recovery side back to the production side. Alright, it's ready. Okay. After we finish that, let's just switch back. Okay, now your production side just go back to work normally, and your disaster recovery side also becomes a slave again. Okay, let's go back to the production side and check the data integrity. As you can see, there's a newly data from a disaster recovery site. And also there's another stuff we did the configuration before. It's a virtual IP. Now let's check the IP address. As you can see, besides the original IP address 74, we also got the IP address 70. So after I switch over, or after the system detects the disconnection, the IP address will be shipped automatically as well. Okay, now let's check the IP again. The IP address 70 it's disappeared now, and because it's already shipped to the disaster recovery site. Yep, it just guarantees the network consistency for your both database service. Okay, now I think it's all the content of the high availability, I2 availability, and also the disaster recovery solution for you. I really appreciate your patience and your time. And thank you very much. Have a nice day. See you next time. Goodbye.